everybody's watching. This is too big. It's covering whole camera.
Oh, it goes back and
इसको थोड़ा नीचे जा सकते हैं. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshunamalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurvai Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapat Kamlam Shri Gurena Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sakratam Sagan Ragratvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarabhutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitavasya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishvanu Sata Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhaksha Kripa Sindhuvai Vacha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hi Krishna. So I welcome you all, and it's very blissful to be back in Canberra. Yesterday I was writing when we were coming back from Sydney. I was messaging my family. I said, we are on way, left Sydney, reaching home soon. So everybody was laughing there. So again, it's really nice to be among you all again. For the last so many days, we are meeting every day almost. So it's become like, a ritual, a routine. Very good. So today I was just talking to our hostess, and she was just discussing, which I may not, I don't know, I don't have a permission to publicly say anything about it. But yes, she is very inquisitive and she had many questions, and she said the other day when she was there at Prabhu's home, and then there when she came, she said by coincidence, by chance she was there, but I told her, Bhagavad Gita clearly says there is nothing by chance. Krishna declares it, there is nothing happens by chance. He says it's always under my control. Everything is under my control. I plan it all for everybody. So it's just for us to accept it, that's all. He plans everything for us. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. Same thing is repeated in the Granth Sahib again, that nothing happens by chance. So we are very fortunate that again in this past month of auspicious month of Damodar, we are again meeting and we are again enjoying the blissful kathas, the stories, the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. You have to tell the children to be quiet. So it's very wonderful that we are again meeting, and Vaishnava Yatha Shambhu, we all know that. Krishna, actually it's declared in the scriptures that the topmost of Vaishnava is Shivji. And he makes it to reach to Krishna. In fact, it was in when my quest began, the last thing that happened was my father-in-law arranging for a Mahabhishek of Shivji and Parvati. He had some Pandit that told him to do an Anushtan. And he asked us in the month of April he said that because I don't have mother-in-law, so a couple had to sit for that Anushtan, for that yagya. And we were invited to a temple, Shivji's temple, and with all the paraphernalia for the yagya we had gone. And we were sitting in front of Shivji and Parvati, and I was again praying to Shivji and Parvati, please show me the way who the God is. And we performed that Anushtan as per my father-in-law's desire. And then that was the next month, only on 15th of May, I was in Vrindavan. I was at the ISKCON temple. So that's the history now. So it is, Shivji actually is the one who takes us to Krishna. He is the one whose blessings are most needed. Even in the Dasam Granth, there is a beautiful Shabad, Deho Shiv Barmohe. Everybody sings in the Sikhism, we sing that Shabad a lot. So that is that asking the boons from Shivji, that give me this, Guru Gobind Singh Ji is asking, the 10th Sikh Guru, that bless me so that I can fight my enemy here in this world. And he was fighting and he was trying to protect the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas, and he had come for this purpose itself. So that is that he's asking for a boon. Deho bar mohe. So bar is boon. He's asking for that. So we are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada made it so clear for us to understand who Shivji is, what Shiv Tattva is, and who Krishna is, who Vishnu is. He made it so beautifully, he made us understand through the Bhagavatam, through the scriptures by Sanatana Goswami. He made it, Rupa Goswami says, he talks about this. So what is, Prabhupada clearly says in the scriptures, that in this Kali Yuga, what is most required? It's the Hari Kirtan. And Shivji is everywhere where Hari is, where Krishna is. You go to Vrindavan, there is Gopeshwar Mahadev. You go to Mayapur, there is again Shivji, where the Nimai was born, there is a temple of Shivji there again. So Shivji doesn't leave Hari for a moment even. In the Gurbani, in the Granth Sahib, on the Ang 695 or 685, it is there that Shivji has got the half moon on his head, and that half moon is always bathing in Ganges. How it is bathing in Ganges, everybody knows it. When the Ganges was supposed to enter here on this universe, so what happened? Her flow was so strong. It's coming from the toenails of Krishna. And her flow was so strong that Shivji said, I will take it honor my head. And then the flow became better. It became that we could survive in that flow. Otherwise, we would all have washed away by the Ganges. So Shivji is serving Krishna. That shows clearly, this incident shows that Shivji is serving Krishna. He's always serving Krishna. There is a beautiful story in Gokul when Krishna appeared. Shivji, he had promised Shivji that I will give you darshan. He doesn't give darshan so easily to demigods even. Shivji is, of course, he is above demigods. He is a Shiv Tattva in itself. But yet he is lingering for Krishna's darshan. He is lingering to see Krishna. And he was given this, again a vardhan, a boon by Krishna, that I will give you darshan when I'll appear in Dwapar Yuga, in the Yashoda's home when I'll be there, at Nanda Baba's court, in Nanda Baba's palace when I'll be there, then I'll give you darshan. And Shivji, when he comes to know, oh, Krishna has appeared, he's there already in Yashoda's arms as a baby, he's appeared. So Krishna, Shivji, he comes to the doorstep of their palace. He's there with all, what he does is, he's a mendicant. He doesn't have a house to live in. He is so renounced. He's full of renunciation. He comes with all the ashes on his body, with a snake in his neck. He's a yogi. He enters Gokul and he reaches their doorstep, and there he is saying Alakh Niranjan, Alakh Niranjan. And then and she says, I know there is a baby here. Please bring the baby out. I want to bless the baby. So the gopis and Yashoda, they get scared, they get frightened to see such a mendicant. And they say, no, 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 we are not going to get the baby out. Krishna starts crying. He's howling inside. Inside quarters, he's crying. And they are all worried. Maybe he's got scared to see the mendicant, or maybe he's got a stomach ache. Something is wrong with the baby. He's not quietening up. So Shivji turns back and he walks away when he's refused the entry, when he's refused the darshan, he walks away. And now Krishna doesn't stop crying. Everybody is worried what's happening to Krishna. Why is he not crying? Why is he not stopping? So a gopi says, one of the gopis says, maybe he's got an evil eye, a buri nazar. He has been affected by that, and that's why he's crying. So why not call that Baba back and ask him to ward off that evil eye? So they run after, they send messengers and they call him back. And Shivji comes back. And then Krishna is brought out, the baby Krishna comes, and baby Krishna, actually Shivji bows down to him, he touches his feet there on his head, and he stops crying. So that is, Shivji took the darshan of Lala, he says. And then he goes away. He's happy that Krishna gave him the blessings and Krishna gave him the darshan. So there is another incident that happened when Krishna is doing the Rasa Leela. Shivji pleads with him that I want to be there present in the Rasa Leela. And Krishna says, nobody can get an entry, only the gopis can get the entry. Even Lakshmi ji says, it says that till date she is doing meditation to get the permission to enter the Rasa dance. She's not been granted. And Shivji begs, I want to be there. I want to see the Rasa dance. And Krishna says only gopis are allowed to enter into it. And he says, I'm ready to become a gopi. And he tells Vishakha Sakhi and Lalita to dress him up. So he goes into the Yamuna, he takes a dip and he dresses up as a gopi. That's why he is called Gopeshwar Mahadev. And this temple of Gopeshwar Mahadev, when you go to Vrindavan and you visit it, the bhoga is offered to Krishna, and the same bhoga plate, when offered to Krishna, it becomes prasadam. It is brought to Shivji. It is offered to him then, because he is the Param Vaishnava. He is the topmost Vaishnava. So we are trying to become Vaishnavas. So we need his blessings to become a Vaishnava. He guides us. So we are very fortunate that we can understand Shivji. Otherwise people, they get actually confused. That's why Prabhupada said, in Kali Yuga, it's not Shiv Kirtan, it's Hari Kirtan. The bhakti of Hari, bhakti of Krishna. So that is important in Kali Yuga. The only way to get out, the bhakti is actually the only way to get out of the cycle of birth and death. Bhakti is only way that shows your surrender. That is the only way. She was asking me, please, I asked her, what would you like the topic I should take? So she said, surrender. So the surrender is actually, the bhakti is the process. That is the process for surrender. There is no other process. And bhakti starts with chanting. We have been discussing this over there so many days. So as she said, and I just opened up the Bhagavad Gita to see what I can get, what Krishna wants me to read from the Gita. So beautiful shloka came up here. It's from the chapter 6 again, Dhyana Yoga. And Shivji is a yogi. So how do we put, actually, this is the message again that comes. Jitatma prashantasya paramatma samahita shitoshna sukha dukheshu tatha man apamaneyo. It says here, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So this is how the surrendered soul is. A surrendered soul is the one who has conquered the mind. Krishna says in the previous shloka here, in the 6th shloka, Bandhuratmanasya tasya, he says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of the friends. And for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So our mind can be our friend and our greatest enemy as well. So devotees, they always try to make it their friend. So when it becomes friend, it's conquered. That's the surrender. Because you want to conquer the mind, your surrender, actually, that is in the proportion of your conquering the mind. The more you conquer the mind, the more you control the mind, more surrender will come. More the faith will become strong and more surrender will happen. So that is how we should be trying to do it. I was just, today I wanted to do a katha from the Granth Sahib even. There is a very beautiful katha when we have the sadhu sang, and especially in the month of Kartik. It's because she was there just a few days back at the satsang. And then she says she had no plans for this. She never ever thought of having such a satsang in her house. But then it just came up. Because that day when she listened it and she just felt, she had an intuition that it should happen in her house. So there's a beautiful katha of a Sand Nai in the Granth Sahib. I don't know how many of you know it or you don't know it. Nobody knows it. That Sand Nai, Nai means a barber. The Sand Nai had a duty. He had a job at King's Palace and he had been initiated. He was initiated and he was trying to become a Vaishnava. So he had a job to give massage to the king every night. Every night he would go and give a beautiful massage to the king so that king may sleep a sound sleep. So king, he had to go every night, he had to be there. Otherwise the king would get furious, and it had never happened that he had not gone there. So once he asked his guru, he said, I have taken initiation. So what is the fruit of initiation? How can I advance? I have taken the initiation. How can I advance? And how do I behave when I have been initiated by a spiritual master? So his guru tells him that when the Vaishnavas come to your home and do kirtan in your home, you will get the fruit of your initiation. You will be blessed. Then this Nai, this barber, one night he was about to leave for the king's palace. He comes out of his house and there he sees Vaishnavas coming in a group singing the glories of Hari, and they're walking towards him. And he thinks now what to do. I should invite them in or I should just ignore them and go to the palace. Because if I don't go to the palace, king will kick me out and he may kill me also for that. And if I don't invite them, then what's the use of my initiation? So now he's in double-minded. But then he says, let the king go to hell. And he says, I don't care. If Krishna Kirtan is so powerful, everything will fall in place. No worries. Let him do anything he wants to do. Let the king kill me, I don't care. He invites the Vaishnavas in his home, and whole night they sing the glories of Krishna, they sing the Kirtan. In Gurbani it is said, Kirtan, Kali Yuga mein Kirtan Pradhana. In Kali Yuga, the glories of the Supreme Lord is the topmost activity. That's the topmost, it is said, the way to surrender to Krishna. So he invited the Vaishnavas into his home and they sang the glories, they sang the Kirtan whole night, and he just didn't remember even that he had something to do in the night. They were all singing, and when it came the Brahmurta in the morning, and it was over by like 5 or 6 o'clock, everything, they left, and it was like they had a beautiful night that, and the Brahmurta was excellent in his home. And he was very, very satisfied. And then in the evening, whole day he was petrified. And he was waiting for somebody from the palace to come looking for him. But nobody came that day. In the night he dressed up and he again went to the palace. And he was very scared at the time what is going to happen there. But when he entered the court, when he entered the room of the king was all very pleased with him. King was smiling and he said, the massage you gave me last night, you had never given me earlier. It was the most beautiful massage of my life that you gave me last night. And Sand Nai was shocked. He had never come. Who came? And then Krishna appeared before him and he could understand, yes, Krishna came dressed up as the Sand Nai. And he gave the massage to the king. So the king was all, like he is giving him now gifts and presents. He gave him a lot of money, a lot of jewels. And he said, I'm so much that I'm obliged to you for what you gave me last night. That was the bliss of my life. And Krishna had come to protect his devotee. So the glories of Sand Nai are sung by the Sikh Gurus in the Granth Sahib. That this is the Sand Nai, how he got the blessings of the Supreme Lord. So these are beautiful stories. These gave goosebumps to us. So this is how the Vaishnavas are. The mercy of Vaishnavas forces Krishna to serve them and he is very pleased to serve pure devotees of the Lord. In the Gurbani, there is a beautiful Shabad, Santan ke karaj aap kholoya Ram. So when the pure devotees of the Lord, when they want to perform some activity, Krishna himself, in the form of Ram or Krishna, he appears and he fulfills all those tasks. And we have seen it, like Srila Prabhupada, nobody can make 108 temples in 10 years. And he could give 108 temples in 10 years. When he left this world, it was in the year 1977. And now this is 2024. His disciples increased the number to beyond 950 temples all over the world. And millions of devotees. How could this happen? My Guru Maharaj himself told me once, he said how the preaching in Russia was. He said it was like, you see the movies where the smuggling is done. It was like that. You see people, they go and they smuggle things into different country where that is prohibited. They smuggle into it. And what was being smuggled into Russia? Bhagavad Gita, Isha Upanishad, nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion. Guru Maharaj would go dressed up in pant and coat. He would participate in a book fair in Russia and carry such books. And he says, we would have a briefcase in our hand. We would go to some bus stop or somewhere. It was there that you had to meet that person and just put your briefcase there, never speak to him, even exchange the briefcases and come back. Nobody should know even what happened. It was like this. When the first printing press, because they wanted to publish now, there and then only, because it was becoming difficult to get it from India all the time. So the Russian Bhagavad Gita had to come up. So it was decided in the middle of night, you read the books called Salted Bread. That is how the Russian preaching happened. How the devotees were tortured and how that Prabhu he died even. So this is a beautiful, that is mentioned, and there's a beautiful picture of Guru Maharaj printing Bhagavad Gita in the basement of a house. The printing press was smuggled in. The printing press was purchased from an old printing house that was being discarded, and it was a communist country at that time. Everything was so secret there. And how in the middle of night it was brought in a truck which a devotee owned. And in the middle of night, the wall, because the printing press won't enter it, the door was small. So the wall, the gate was small, the door of the house was small. So they dismantled a piece of wall in the middle of night, and it was reconstructed in the same night. So in the morning, nobody would notice anything that something has happened. And it was brought inside the printing press, taken into the basement, laid down, and later the printing started there and then. And there's a picture where Guru Maharaj is printing Bhagavad Gita. And he's working at the printing press himself. And then the devotees, what would they do when the leftover papers from the Bhagavad Gita was being binded there? There would be some extra pages that come out where the shlokas would be. And they were so sincere, they would not bin them. They would swallow them with water. Those pages, the cuttings, they would swallow with water. Likewise, the preaching has happened in Russia. So much of faith. Guru Maharaj's secretary, that was Sri Balaram, a young boy, he told me himself, I said, how did you become a devotee? He was like 17, 18 when I joined his call. He said he had been studying here in Gurukul since he was just 6 and 7. He said his father worked for the spies there, KGB. He was actually a government servant and he was the part of KGB. KGB had to confiscate all these scriptures that were coming into Russia. All these such religious scriptures from the other side of the world. They were supposed to confiscate them and tear them and throw them. So once Isha Upanishad came and he confiscated it, his father. But the cover was so beautiful he could not tear it. And he could not read English. It was in English. He looked for someone who would secretly read it to him because they could not go openly to someone who could read English for them. Then the report would go and they would be present. So he searched for someone to read Ishopanishad. And that person read the Ishopanishad to him. That person was also secretly a devotee. They were all secret agents. And then he says he was totally, when he read Ishopanishad, he said there is nothing beyond this scripture. He wanted to see, the backside has a picture of Prabhupada. He wanted to see Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was not on this planet. And then Guru Maharaj was visiting us at that time. Guru Maharaj had actually joined a university to learn Russian there. Just to get the permission to go again and again to Russia. He had joined a university to study Russian there. And then he was giving, of course, he was studying Russian in the morning and giving discourses in the evening. Going in like devotees' home, that was all secret. And he started giving discourses, and this family met him. And when this family met him, now these boys, he had Balaram, this Prabhu. This boy, he was 6-7-year-old. And in Russia, it was mandatory to join army for the children. When they enter the high school, just they clear it, they have to go in the army. That was a mandatory. Now, this family asked Guru Maharaj to take his son to India and put him in the Gurukul. And Guru Maharaj brought him to India. But the parents could not visit India. The KGB, and mother was also working with KGB. The parents, those who were working with KGB, there was a rule that they cannot go out of the country because they knew a lot of secrets. They could not go out of the country, and they did not meet their son for a long, long time. And son was in service of Guru Maharaj. He was in the Gurukul. He studied there. He learned Hindi, everything, and he's a beautiful devotee. Now he lives in. Then his parents, after some time, when they got retired, and when that Soviet Union it dismantled all Soviet Union. It was then when it became Russia, then they got the permission, and then they could travel. They have been to my home as well. The whole family came to my home, and then they came to India. And now his father is no more. He's passed away, and they all came to India, they went to Mayapur, and they started coming often. And now Sri Balaram he lives in Mayapur. So this is how the Russian preaching happened. This is how the sacrifices were given. This is how the Vaishnavas, this is what Vaishnavas are. The pure devotees of the Lord, they go out and preach to others. They make them devotees. And they take all such trouble and such risk in their lives. So this is very important, because then Krishna is very pleased with those who actually surrender. This is surrender actually. This is nothing. If you would have met Guru Maharaj, you would have known him. He was so humble, very humble. He would never acknowledge. If you glorify him before him, he would never listen to it. He will put hands on his ears. He would never listen to his glorification. So this is humility. So as I said this, the Vaishnavas, when they come to someone's home and do the kirtan, Prabhupada says, that place becomes Vrindavan in itself. That place becomes a dham. That place is blessed because Hari Kirtan has been done here. Hari Katha is being done here. And Kali cannot enter. Kali has to remain outside. Kali cannot enter inside. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about how one can conquer the mind. So how do you conquer the mind? Those who have conquered it, the super soul is already reached. So when you control your mind, you have reached the super soul, that's Paramatma. You have reached out to him. He is there with you now. And he has attained tranquility. How do you know you have reached out to Paramatma? Because you have a peace in your mind now. That's tranquility in your mind. You have no desires just pestering in you, coming in your mind again and again, disturbing you. Your mind has become very peaceful, very calm. So because he has attained tranquility, it shows in itself that he is actually, he is in the shelter of Paramatma. Paramatma is there with him now. To such a man, And how do you recognize, how do you know that you have reached there? To such a, Krishna gives all the clues here. In Bhagavad Gita, he's given all the clues to us. He says, how do you know such a man? Because for such a man, happiness and distress is same. He doesn't get very happy when he achieves something. And he doesn't go into deep grief if he loses something. So his pain is not very great when he loses something because he knows this is the will of the Supreme Lord. And when he achieves something, he's not so happy that he is lost. So people, when they achieve something, when they're celebrities, when they get rich, I've seen many those who come to the temple, and because Krishna says, those who want money, they come to me. Those who want get rid of any disease, they are dukhi, they come to me. They are in pain, they come to me in distress. So when they have achieved what they wanted, and many of them go back. They don't come back then. And when again they are in distress, they will come back. So their motive is only to use Krishna. So Krishna knows it all. But still he will give them what they want. And yet, if they go back again, because they don't understand, Krishna is actually pushing them away from them if they achieve that thing. Because I know somebody, over these years I have met so many people. Those who came in distress, and when they had big loans to give, they were in mortgage, and when they get money, they forget Krishna. Now no Krishna in their lives. They go away. They spend that money and enjoy life. So they don't understand Krishna has actually kicked them away from them. That Krishna has done. Because they wanted money and they wanted just money. They didn't want Krishna. Like Duryodhana, Kauravas. Kauravas wanted when Krishna was there, I told this katha in the previous lectures also. Krishna, when the war is about to happen in Kurukshetra, so Krishna says, come to me. There are two options I'm going to offer you. He tells both the parties. He tells Duryodhana to come to him. He tells Arjuna to come to him. So both of them go in his room where Krishna is lying down on the bed with his half eyes closed. Duryodhana is very egoistic. He's got a lot of pride in him. He goes at the head of Krishna. He stands there. He would never go to the feet of Krishna. Arjuna is always surrendered. He comes in and he stands next to Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna opens his eyes and he sees Arjuna. Then he looks up and there is Duryodhana there. He says, I'm going to give two options to you. One option is my Narayani Sena, celestial army. All weaponized celestial weapons they will have. And it's not a small number. He gives the number that goes into millions. And the other side, the next option is me, without any weapon. I will come nihata, no weapon. I will not carry any weapon. And I will be the chariot driver. I will ride the chariot. So now the decision both of you, I'm giving you these options. Who wants to pick me and who wants to pick the celestial army? So the first option, Garg Samhita says, goes to Duryodhana to pick up the whatever he wants to pick up. Arjuna is very tense. Arjuna is very worried. He's looking very worried. And here, Duryodhana, he is the first one to pick up. So he says, I've got millions of sarthis. I've got many chariot drivers. What will I do with a chariot driver who doesn't have a single weapon on him? He says, I will go for the celestial army. A big army guarantees that I will win. I already have a very big army. Pandavas have nothing with them. A very small army they have. I have a big army. And I'll win. It's for sure. And he picks up the celestial army. And Krishna says, Tathastu, given. And Duryodhana is very happy and he leaves the room. And now Arjuna is still there and he is half dazed and half worried. And Krishna is smiling. So Krishna says, now what's your worry? He says, I was worrying. If Duryodhana would have asked for you, he would have taken your option, you as the option. Then what would we have done? How would we could survive without you? Krishna says, if I would have given him the intelligence to ask for me, then only he would have asked for me. I did not give him the intelligence. So we think sometimes, oh, I'm very intelligent. It's because Krishna actually has given you power. If you make the right decision even, it's because your surrender pleased Krishna and he gave you the power to make the right decision. It's never we, it's never us. So Krishna says, I did not give him the intelligence to ask for me, then how could he would have asked about me? So this is how it is. Some people, they are like Duryodhan. They want the celestial army. They want the material things from Krishna. And some are like Arjuna, who want Krishna only. They don't want the things. They know things will come on their own. If Krishna is there, everything will follow. Krishna said, I will not pick up the weapon. Then what he did, when Bhishma Pitama there is a rain of arrows that is coming towards Arjuna. What did he do? He got so furious. He got out of the rath and picked up the wheel of the rath as the shastra, as the weapon. And he protected Arjuna. He protected Prahlad. So this shows the surrender. If you are surrendered and you only want Krishna, may whatever the problems come in your life, you are not actually affected by them. That's why Krishna says here, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor. If you are dishonored even, but you are a devotee and you are dishonored even, amani na manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So you should not worry. Because Krishna, your numbers are up before Krishna. That's why my Guru Maharaj always told me. It's not that the spiritual life is very easy. When we enter the temple life, sometimes we see so many things and we get, agitated. And when I was a neophyte, of course, I also got agitated. And I would say, oh, this person is jealous, this person has got this jealousy with that person, and I would see also what's happening. But then I was trained by Guru Maharaj. He would speak to me on the telephone for like 1 hour even. And he said, you don't have to worry. If you keep on serving Krishna, if you are focused, you are surrendered, your numbers are up before Krishna. Let others say anything about you. That doesn't matter at all. You should not take it to your heart. You should not feel that you have been dishonored. You have to take Krishna just with you. No honor and no dishonor. You should not think that somebody will come with a garland for you when you enter the temple. Because everybody says, oh, I was not asked. It was not given to me. They give it to the other person. So that's the jealousy that comes up. You should never think of that. So that is, Krishna is testing you. If he wants it, you will get it. If he doesn't want, you don't get it. He wants you to remain equipoised. He's testing you, how your surrender is. So like Guru in Krishna, Guru is the one who teaches you on, who actually makes you aware of Krishna. And he makes you aware of all this, what is said here, that how do you understand this? Without the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we would not have understood this verse even. So this is we are very fortunate that we are in this movement. We may hear so many other things from the world, outside world. But we should not be we should remain equipoised. We should remain loyal. We should remain surrendered. So this is how the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and the Granth Sahib. When I got this in Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, when I was opening this, I got here, as I was searching for the verse from my book to speak on. So in the Gurbani, when it says here, Manne ki gati kahe na jaye, je ko kahe piche pachtaye. The same verse came out here. It says, then Manne ki gati, the mind speed, nobody can tell. Mind has got a super speed, supersonic speed. You're sitting here, the mind can be miles away. It's not necessary with your body, it's here. We are sitting here, the mind can be in America or India, anywhere, 1,000 miles away. So, manne ki gati kahe na jaye, jeko kahe piche pachtaye. So, mind actually, it actually runs away. And it says that those who don't understand the mind, they are gonna actually regret later. Kagad kalam na likhanar, manne ka bahe karan vichar. I'll just read the translations. By reflecting the reality of all realms is comprehended. When you reflect in yourself, when you actually try to understand, that is called self-introspection. Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, that is the Adam Sakshatkar, knowing about yourself, who am I? What am I doing in this world? Why I was sent to this world? Even the animals come to this world. Even the species, lower species, aquatic animals are there. The animals that walk on the ground are there. The birds that fly in the sky are there. They all have actually appeared here. So it says here that there is no difference between the animals and the human beings. Eating, mating, sleeping, defending. They also eat, we also eat. They also mate, we also mate. They defend themselves, we defend ourselves. We sleep, they sleep. The places may differ. But then there is something greater what the human species are meant to do. Human species have got birth in this world, in this planet. So they have a purpose. They have come with a purpose. So what is the purpose for the human? There are 4 lakh kinds of human species. Every human has got same features like us. Nose, eyes, everything is same. Then how come 4 lakh of species are in humans? There are 4 lakh types of consciousness in us. So the 4 lakh types of that consciousness, the topmost consciousness is the Vaishnava consciousness, where you're aware of Krishna, where you reflect into yourself and you become aware that who is the Supreme Lord. So I think so. What time we have to end? It's 8:30. What time I should take the question answers?
You started late, so you can talk
Okay.
a little bit more.
Okay. So it says here, by reflecting. And then it says, by chanting one does not suffer defeat. ऐसा नाम निरंजन होए जेको मन जाने मन कोए. So those who chant the holy name, they will never be defeated in this world. They will always conquer. Because they are conquering the mind. Man jeete jag jeet. The Gurbani says, Manne surat hoye man buddh manne sagala brahman ki sudh. So it says, by reflecting the reality of all religions comprehended, by chanting one does not suffer defeat. By chanting one saves oneself from the Lord of Death, that is Yamaraj. So, mane surat hoye man buddh, mane sagala pavan ki sudh. Jeko man jane man koe, mane mo chota na khaye, mane jam ke saath na jaye. So, those who chant, those who have conquered their mind, they will not be taken away by Yamaraj. So, there are 2 sets of those who come to take us when we leave this body. There are 2 sets. That's one is Vishnu Dutas, and the one is the Yamadutas. So the 3, they come in 3 in number. They are very ugly to look at. The Yamadutas are one would get scared. They are like demon-like features they have. They are very ugly to look at. They are not at all, it says, they are so bhayanak hote hain ki by seeing them, one will get unconscious immediately. And the Vishnu Dutas are very blissful to look at. They are very beautiful, they are very nice, they are ornamented, they come with their helmets, gold helmets and with jewelry, and they are very beautiful. So, who would not want Vishnu Dutas come? Everybody wants Vishnu Dutas to come. Nobody wants the Yamadutas. But for that, one has to work hard. One has to really surrender to the Supreme Lord. One has to conquer the mind. So unless you conquer the mind, one cannot attain what we want at the end of our life. So this is how beautiful the Bhagavad Gita is, that teaches us the purpose of human life, that teaches us what is necessary for us, how should we lead our lives. So we should be very grateful, and we should always be grateful to Vaishnava Acharyas who have given these beautiful granthas to us, the scriptures to us, so that we can understand the purpose of our life, that why we are born here. So anybody has any question, because the question answers also take time. Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Is there a difference between Shiv and Sadashiv?
Sadashiv, that is the Shiv Tattva, and Sadashiv is, Advaita Acharya is also incarnation of Sadashiv. So that is, that's a long topic, we'll discuss sometime. So for us, it should be understood that Shiv Tattva is different to Krishna, and yet he's happy when we surrender to Krishna. He is very pleased. Yes, Mataji.
know the means like hanging like I can't quit. I know I can't quit, can't go back, but I have to surrender more. But it just facing the difficulty. So I'm thinking like hanging in the middle. And when I'm chanting, I know chanting is the best way, but my chanting is like when I start to chant, my brain just kept disturbing me.
Yeah, it happens. I've understood your question. Mind will always trouble us, especially when we start chanting.
Yeah.
So it actually, when you see there is a bucket of dirty water, right? If you see a bucket which has got muddy water in it, dirty water, and when you stir it, what happens? Otherwise, the dirt comes up. The dirt starts coming up because otherwise the dirt was settled down. And when you just get a glass, in the morning you do this experiment. So you fill water in the bucket and you put some dirt in it. And then you will see the dirt settles down and the water changes its color, but the dirt is down there. Then you stir it with a stick, the dirt will come up. So this is when our mind, it's actually filled of all the dirt. And when you start chanting, it was already settled down there and you had that muddy water in you. And when you started chanting, because you were not realizing that those who have these demonic qualities in them, all of us have, of course. I'm not just pointing out to you, I'm just telling you. So these demonic qualities are all settled in us. They have become a part of our life. We think, oh, it's okay if we lie. It's okay if we are angry. We actually give excuses to ourselves. All about that. So it is settled in us. And now, when you start chanting, that is the pure name. That is, Krishna says, I've put all my transcendental energy into the holy name. And it's very powerful. So when you start chanting, now you're stirring it actually. And now the dirt is coming up. The particles are rising up. So what is happening is, that is why we are getting a disturbed mind, especially when chanting. So because you won't remember anything other, like when you're not chanting, you don't have any other thing to do even. But as soon as you pick up your beads and start chanting, you'll remember millions of things. Because that distraction is coming to you. It's your testing period is coming because all the demonic qualities in you, they are now disturbed by you, because by the holy name. So the more you chant, more you become strict with yourself, the more you will get the surrender to come. It will come, but it will take time. Somebody asked Prabhupada how long we have to chant so that we will go back to Godhead. Give us some duration, like 10 years, 12 years, 20 years. How long we should continue chanting 16 rounds? Prabhupada, he said, how long does it require for us to chant to go back? Prabhupada said, just one pure holy name, one Soli, can take you back to Godhead. But that one holy name that is said with full purity, that will take you back to Godhead. And we are waiting for that once that we can take the holy name with full purity, full devotion. The moment that will come, we will be liberated. And that liberation you will see in this world, when you will not be affected by happiness and distress, when you will not be affected by honor and dishonor, when you will not be affected by all these things, then only that means that you are actually being blessed. That's what Krishna says. Then you are with me. Your mind is calm and composed. Then other example is when we have dirty water, a glass filled with dirty water, you put it under the tap, you open a tap and put it under the tap water. Gradually what will happen? The clean water will replace the dirty water. The glass will be filled with clean water. Because when you fill a glass of dirty water is there, you put it under the tap and you open the tap, the clean water will pour in, and the dirty water, when it will keep on pouring, it will happen, the dirty water will go away and the clean water will replace it. Try that experiment in the morning. So this will happen. It happens. So Prabhupada says, when you get the higher taste, the lower taste leaves you. The more you will be chanting with sincerity, attentive chanting, that is, not doing those 10 namaprads, which we talk in the morning, we try not to commit them at all. So this is very easy, but taking the holy name is very easy, but guarding the holy name is a bit difficult. Guarding your sadhana, your bhakti is a bit difficult. For that we need the association of devotees always, so that they may help us always. So just, if you still can't understand the Shastras, you can't understand what's happening, you just keep on chanting and tell your mind to just keep shut and I want to chant. So then the mind will be trained gradually. So sometimes it's difficult for us to understand the scriptures, what they are saying and how to go about. So simple is just focus on your chanting and do it nicely in the association of devotees. Come and have darshan of the deities, eat prasadam, and then everything will fall in place gradually. Sometimes we are very eager, we just chant, and some people will think, oh, it's like, they're very eager. Why something is not happening to me? Why it is not happening? The reason is that they have just taken admission into a primary school and they expect the result to be of PhD. That cannot happen. You cannot in a primary school you have admission and you cannot expect the result of high school or beyond that to be in your way. You have to wait for it. Because Krishna is actually testing you. Krishna takes many filter tests. It's simple as again I say, but it is still very difficult. But one has not to leave this. At least who has once said Hare Krishna, he will reach one day or the other, he will reach. He will reach the destination. So keep on saying Hare Krishna. What to speak of those who chant 16 rounds a day? Prabhupada says, if once even you have said Hare Krishna, you are on the road to Krishna. So one day you will reach your destination. You are better than those who have never said Hare Krishna. So you are very much on the way. Some are ahead of you, some are just joining in. But you are on the track. Just don't leave Hare Krishna. Keep on chanting. Haribol. Got it?
Also, can we have, thank you so much, can we have a topic like, when we're chanting, we feel like Krishna, please help me. Can we do that kind of topic?
Yeah, of course.
That's fine. And also, like when chanting, we have problems that came out, can we like have some prayer, like please solve this problem for me, or like please give me some words of wisdom to solve
Krishna says 4 kinds of people come to me. Some come for things to me, so it's okay. He says they are very pious people. They can come, of course. One day they will understand what real surrender is. But keep coming to me, he says, don't go anywhere. Come to me only. Don't go to demigods or any other place. Just come to me. That's what he says. So don't go to demigods, don't go here and there, don't fall prey to the black magic, don't fall prey to any other, whatever is coming, whatever we are listening here, outside in the outside world. There are many so-called gurus who teach you we teach in ISKCON it is art of dying. That is important, not the art of living is important. Art of dying is important. Living to an insect is also living. You don't need any art to live. You just need the art to die. How I will die. What kind of a death I'm going to die. So that is in your hand. The death means the next birth. That's reincarnation. And that happens. It's not false, it's not myth. It will happen, it happens. So how is going to be my next life? Where I will be? That is more important. What will happen after death? Where will I go? That's important. How will I die? That's important. So that knowledge is there in the scriptures. That's the Bhagavad Gita tells us. That how you should you should have a glorious death. So glorious death is when you die chanting the holy name. You have the holy name in your ears, coming into your ears. When you give this body. Everybody has to give up this body. When it gets old, it has to be given up. So he says, if it's diseased, it has to be given up. For the new body will come. And those who are very, very fortunate, they will come back to me, he says. And they will stay with me, they will serve me, and they will get a body that will be a spiritual body, like Krishna's. Haribol. Yes, anybody has any other question or we end it now? Okay? What do you say? Fine?
Anybody have? Aapko have a question?
I have one
Yes,
question. I
yes.
sort of know the answer, but I want to hear your version of it.
Okay.
Sometimes there are people in your daily life that you come across who test you in many ways.
Mhm.
And you can choose to either move away from that situation, or you somehow become a part of it. Why does this happen, and what do you do about it?
Some people whose views don't match with you.
Yeah, or they test you, they're talking about you, or they are, you sort of get forced to do things that don't sit well with you because you're working and you're under some pressure, and therefore you have to behave in a certain way.
No, you're talking the family life or the
Work.
your work.
Yes.
Work is you have to leave it there only. Work is for the work purpose. It should not be brought home. It should not interfere with your spiritual life. It should be done on the ethics. It should be ethical. Kirat ki kamai, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, it should be kirat ki kamai, with honesty. With honesty, Prabhupada says, no businessman says that, he always says that I am not earning any profit from you, I'm just giving it, you are this to me, I'm just giving an example, Prabhupada gives that. But nobody is truthful, they are all lying. It can never happen that he is not earning from you and he's just giving, he's not somewhat obliged to give you for free or like not earn any profit from you. So he is doing it, but it should be, if you are a businessman even, or if you are working somewhere, your falsity in your behavior, the lies in your, what you have to do, they should be like, they say in salt in atta, so aate mein namak jaisa hona chahiye, not namak mein atta. So you should be very careful when you're in whichever sector you are. So we should be very careful in our dealings in our dealings in material world. But when we're in the spiritual world, we should be fully committed and we should not be doing any criticism. We should not find faults in anybody. Just forget it. Don't be judgmental at all. In the Gurbani it says here that if you are actually, you should not take out the fault, you should never be fault finding. Other day I was saying, कि निंदक नियरे राखिए, निंदक हमारे मैले कपड़े धोता है. If somebody is criticizing you, so he is really washing away your sins. You should be grateful to him. He is losing his pious deeds. Whatever piety he must have done it, but if he criticized somebody, he is losing that piety. And that is being transferred to you now. So it's very good if somebody is criticizing you, it's very good. Because you are getting the benefit, you are getting more benefit. So one should be actually not do this fault finding themselves if they understand. So never find any fault in anybody. Just as maybe his circumstances are like that, maybe whatever his situation may be, he's doing this. So if he does any harm to you, even like he's backbiting you, criticizing you, you just give a smile and say, may Krishna bless you also. That's it. But that is very difficult to say. So one has to actually practice, and then this forgiveness will come. So the humility is the forgiveness. I had a yesterday lecture in the temple in Sydney. So you can watch that discourse, it's on my YouTube channel. So you can watch it. It was all about this, I spoke all about this. It was a very beautiful topic of Dhruva being angry and killing the Yakshas, Kuber's army. He was killing them, though he had been blessed by the Supreme Lord. And then how the Swambhu Manu actually reminds him everything and how this happens. So you can watch that lecture, you will really like it. Hare Krishna. So we end the session here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita Yatharup ki jai, God Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
So thank you so much, Mataji, for your most blessed association at the start of the lecture today. You said that you are very fortunate, but actually we all here in Canberra are extremely fortunate that you are here again, coming, visiting us and inundating us with your sublime Krishna consciousness to one and all. So very, very grateful to you. Hari Bo! Hari Bo! Hari Bo! Hari Bo! Hari Bo! So the program will continue tomorrow as well at Aru Prabhu and Nipa Mataji's place. They have apologized, they could not come today. They had some exam to do for their own initiation, which will happen shortly, Krishna willing, in December. So, but their program is going to happen with the same timing. 6:30 p.m. it starts with the Gorarati, Damodar Ashtakam and the class by Mataji. So please join. They live in Sterling. We have already distributed the details about the program. So please definitely join. And thank you very much, Mataji, for your wonderful
Thank you for
assistance.
inviting.
Do you have any other books, Mataji, still left?
No, but
Anybody wants to get them?
no, in Sydney they were asking. I don't have any single copy left.
Thank you so much, Hitesh Prabhu,
Thank you.
and your entire family for giving us that opportunity. Thank you so much. Sharira Viteja Jugindriya Tahe Kal Jiva Phale Vishesa Kore Tara Mate Jive Ati Lubo Moe Sudur Mati Take Deta Kathina Samsare Krishna Maro Doya Moe Puri Bare Jiva Joy Sabda Sakam Anandilo Bhai Sena Mrita Pao Shri Shri Radha Krishna Guna Gao Premi Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Jai Mai Jai Nitai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guru Shri Shri Radha Madhav Shri Shri Radha Damodar Mahaprasadam Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention, we especially like to thank Meghna Mataji and her husband Steve Prabhu. They both are very, very humble devotees. And at the first instance, so Mataji said it was by chance. Actually, it's not by chance. Lord Krishna's Mataji wanted to have a program with ISKCON devotees since about 6-7 months back. She went twice. She once went to Mayapur and then went to Vrindavan. And then she came back to Canberra. And then again in April, she went back to Vrindavan. And her desire was the same, that she wants to have a program. And then we anyway have a program arranged on 16th of November, which is Kartik Purnima at her place. Then she happened to come to our house, and I just, she was going on gym, and I called her, and she said, no, I will come. And she came, and somehow Ritesh Prabhu also asked her, so yes, I would like to do it. So in less than a week's time, and she was very, very enthusiastic to have this program. So both herself and her husband, Steve Prabhu, very, very humble soul, kindly arranging the today's program. And her sister, your sister is here? Hari Bo.
I wanted to say this, thank you. Thank you everyone. Without all of your association and Krishna's mercy, it would not be possible. I just wanted to say that this is almost like a dream come true. And I told my Krishna today that how many do you think is going to turn up? The answer I received was only the true devotees. Don't expect more than 20, 25. You are very lucky to be here because my Krishna is a very special one. He's been to Vrindavan. He's done the parikrama in Vrindavan. He's seen, the deities in ISKCON. And when I was standing there, I had tears in my eyes, and I looked at both Radha Shyam, and I said, "This kirtan is wonderful here. Now, how are you going to make this happen in my house?" Here we are today, right? So goosebumps in my hands and all over me. And he's very happy sitting there watching. So nothing is coincidence. Everything he listens. You just need to have a desire and true heart. It took me 40 years to be here, and I'm here, and there's no looking back. Thank you everybody for being here.
Prashadam.
Yeah. I won.